So, what do you do? What do you do? I think that when we're asked this question, we tend to devalue ourselves when we answer it, because we say like, oh, I'm a teacher, I'm a student, I'm trying to figure out my underwater basket weaving business model. But it doesn't really give the full answer to what we actually do with our time. And so that's why I'm taking you with me through a day in my life. It's 6:15 in the morning, which literally there's still crickets chirping over there. So the first thing I'm doing is preparing our script for the live daily broadcast that we do. Luckily, I have a student showrunner who puts the script together the night before, so when I come in the morning, it's all on Google Docs. I just double check it. My next step is to take out my old school paper calendar, go over it, and just double check that everything I have planned to do today is what I'm supposed to do today. Today I teach 3 90-minute classes. I start off with my broadcast class, then I have a prep period, then I have a sophomore introduction to digital media class, then a lunch, and then another sophomore introduction to digital media class, and then go home. And so even though I really want to share a day in the life with you, there's obviously a few limitations. Like I can't film during class time and I can't include students. So I promise you, there are 225 students who use this classroom, even if you just never see any of them. I feel that you're very lucky if you're able to like your job, but I feel super fortunate in that I got to make up my own job, because all of the classes that I teach are classes that I made and wrote and designed, and what we do in them is what I decide to do, and the whole lab and studio and all the equipment that we ordered is all stuff that I got to put together and I got to order and I got to decide on, which is pretty dang cool. And so now the big struggle becomes more of just trying to fit everything into a single day, because there's really just like not enough time in the day, and that's a good problem to have. So that was the end of my first class, which was 90 minutes, and in that class we produced a broadcast that has a whole mix of like live and pre-recorded segments. I'm over here setting all this stuff up in a different spot in my room because we're doing some important interviews on Monday, the next school day. Students are going to film the interviews, but I want to make sure the equipment's ready and working, and we only have one shot, so I want to make sure that it works out really well. So I'll kind of show you what I've set up here during my prep period. I've been using these overhead drum lights to get really soft diffuse lighting, and they work exceptionally well. We've got a backdrop on a C-stand that has some lights over it. These lights for the backdrop are all going to be gelled, so that way the colors that are here won't just be white. For audio, since we only have one shot with these interviews, I've got 2 mics. I've got a Rode shotgun mic and then also a Rode Video Mic Pro, both of which are kind of going up over here with these fill lights, which are these super nice Dracast LED panels. The Rode mic is heading into the H5N, and then the Video Mic Pro is going straight into the 6D Mark II over here. The 6D Mark II has a 70-200 2.8 with IS on it, and then we've actually put it in a Red Rock matte box to help with some of the glare and reflections from not only these lights, but also just the regular like ambient lighting that's around the classroom. And then also I just got a phone call, which was a pretty cool opportunity from someone at a local hospital. I don't even know how they got our info, but they're having an anti-human trafficking conference, and the local TV station has donated airtime to them, which is awesome, but they have nothing to run. So they asked if a couple of our students very quickly by the end of the weekend could put something together to air and promote the event, which is awesome because I was able to throw that out to a couple of students. They're gonna edit it over the weekend, and then they'll have a finished spot that gets to air on television for the next like 3 weeks until the actual conference. Plus they're helping out a really good cause. Plus we're hopefully then establishing a relationship with a new community partner. And since Impact, the pathway that I coordinate, isn't just a class, it's a 4-year career technical education pathway, it's really important to provide these kinds of opportunities to students. So there's a lot of community outreach and trying to find like these different partnerships and different ways that students can work with the community, with the school, with themselves to create really cool digital media stuff. Where did my keys go? I lost my keys. Half of my day is also me just looking for my keys. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I never lose my keys. Found them. And so if you've watched me for a while, you know I talk a lot about cameras, I talk a lot about tech, we do a lot of 3D printing on this channel, but this is kind of where all of that comes from. That's stuff I've been doing forever. It's what I kind of live and breathe all day because I actually believe in it. And since today is Friday, I have to prepare a lot of different cameras and lenses for students to check out and take with them over the weekend as they go on projects. And if you know me, you know that I'm a really big fan of Canon cameras. And believe it or not, we actually do have and use a lot of Sony cameras as well, like the A7 IIIs and the A6500s and the A7S and a bunch of Sony lenses. But let me tell you that even though these cameras give absolutely incredible results, when it comes year after year of cameras being checked in, checked out, taken all over the country, if not the world, being used and hopefully not abused, but definitely used by high school students, it's Canon cameras that just don't quit. They stand up to everything. We've got a crazy assortment of lenses for Canon cameras. Now I'm gonna eat my Clif Bar and answer some emails. Because I get so many emails, it never stops. So in the classes that I'm about to teach for the rest of the day, we're working on two projects. I always kind of have like two things going at the same time so that no one has any excuses to be lazy or not do anything. And the first project we're working on, I actually call it a production team project. And basically the students can work in groups of 1 to 4 and they create a working production team that they're with for the rest of the semester. We've also been doing a 3D printing fundraiser where we print these like school logos and then sell them. It's sometimes do personalized like nameplates and stuff. I like to do them multicolored, so I actually have to do this. I have to pause the print and then manually swap out the filament. But one of my favorite things about 3D printing, even though this isn't specifically part of my classes, it really does like spark a lot of curiosity. And so if you just sort of have this doing stuff in the background, kids usually start asking questions about it. And then that's a really good way to take some kids, especially if they're more like artsy and don't feel themselves like mathematically inclined, then you can have them do something like this where now they're gonna be maybe a little more comfortable with the idea of like engineering. But now that it's lunch break, I've had to put something together that I think is pretty cool, because if you've noticed, I've kind of been in 2 different spots, or in a lot of different spots throughout this like day in the life video. And I found a solution to sort of help me keep an eye on things that can just use my phone, because even though I have a lot of square footage here, it's all sectioned off into kind of smaller areas, and so it's hard to keep an eye on everything. So I actually was able to just mount a GoPro up here to get a view of this side of the classroom, since most of us are usually on the other side, but sometimes everyone needs to be on both sides at the same time, and there's this giant wall that kind of divides everything. So now actually just using the GoPro app, I can keep an eye on both parts of the classroom, even if I'm in a different spot or bouncing back and forth between the different locations. So that is pretty cool. Now I'm gonna be spending the last few minutes of my lunch break entering in these forms so we can compete in Skills USA this year, which is a pretty hectic, chaotic, but ultimately beneficial program, career technical student organization that our students participate in. I made a couple of videos about Skills USA as well. Made a lot of videos about the stuff that we do here, but it's all pretty fun. Sometimes it just feels like I'm going around and around in circles trying to get all this stuff done, but honestly, today is probably like an average day in terms of busyness. Now that print from earlier finished, I was able to manually swap out the filament to have a multicolored print without having like an actual multi-material connection on the printer. It's kind of an old school way of getting this sort of neat multicolored look. Simple, I guess. So this is my 9th year teaching, and it took me way longer than I'd like to admit to realize that I'll never be done with all of the work in a given day. There's always something to do. I could be here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and never finish everything. So I'm always going to feel like I'm behind in some way, but I just, when I'm here, give 110% towards getting the things done that I need to get done, and then I can go home, focus on all the fun stuff outside of work, and then come back, hopefully, re-energized and ready to do the next thing the next day. Because ultimately, as much as I do care about what we're teaching here, it's really not so much about learning Final Cut Pro or Photoshop or anything like that. It's literally these values that I talk about a lot, where if I can get students to be the kinds of people who aspire to be hard workers who are kind to one another and still manage to have fun while they're doing it, then it's gonna be a lot easier for them to be successful at anything that they do, regardless of whether or not it's related directly to this class or this pathway. So it is 3 o'clock, 9 hours after the day started. Last class is over, equipment is checked out, everybody's ready to go. I am tired, I am ready to go, but the day is definitely not over. I was originally planning to have Heather be a part of this day in the life video. Normally this is where we would try to go to the gym and work out, but we're both really tired. Heather's sick, I'm just getting over being sick, and something that makes this a relatively unusual day in the life is I got a very special delivery hot off the UPS truck right now. So I'll do a little unboxing before making a totally separate video about this. All right, we got 2 boxes here. Nike Apple Watch band in shot green, which they don't really make anymore, so I was lucky to find it in like the discount part of the Apple store. But I've been wanting one for a long time. I've had a knockoff one off Amazon, but it's so bad that sometimes my watch actually just falls off of it onto the ground, which isn't the greatest, and I don't want that to happen because in this box, I finally decided to upgrade from my original Apple Watch that I've been wearing since it originally came out, which has been an absolute trooper, but is really, really slow. I've definitely got my money's worth out of it. So this means that I'm gonna be spending my Friday night recording a comparison video between the Series 4 and the original Series 0 Apple Watches. Just because I'm home from work doesn't mean that the digital media production stops. I might need like help or you know, like an intervention. Well, this is pretty. Oh, they've changed it up a bit. There we go. Charger, cable, watch itself. Look at this. The watch comes in its own little like koozie. That's so adorable. Just leave it in here forever, I guess. How nifty is this? Oh, okay. I mean, it basically looks exactly the same. The backs look entirely different. I saw a video last week from Caleb Pike at DSLR Video Shooter where he was talking about lighting, and he talked about putting the light as close as you can to you. My light kind of accidentally fell down as I was trying to take a picture of the 2 watches, and then I realized that, and I kind of like how soft this lighting looks. Almost 7 o'clock at night, and I just got done filming a speed test video between the original Apple Watch and the new one, because after using the new one for a bit, it's just so fast and it works so well that I just wanted to do a comparison. I wasn't really planning to upload anything like that today, but I'm gonna upload that tonight. I think this is the end of the video. I have no idea, it just keeps going, but this is where I'm going to stop the day in the life video because I might otherwise go crazy. So I'll be spending the rest of my night editing the watch video, and then I'll edit this video so you can watch this video after you watch the watch video, right? Thanks for watching.